Stevens here, and I am with Paul again, Stevens Landscaping Landscape Architect. We're back on site in Moulton Borough for a project update. So we're on the shores of Lake Winnipesaukee, and we have a lot to share. A lot's happened in a short period of time.
It actually has been. I was thinking it wasn't going to happen as fast as it did, but we really got our act together, and we have a great team, so everything is coming together smoothly.
We got snow coming before we know it.
I know. Well, that's the other thing we have to consider is that we're standing right now on what's going to become a heated part of the driveway. So we're doing a permeable pavement with a heated driveway portion. We're putting the heated portion next to the garage so that if they needed to put a car here, they wouldn't necessarily have to shovel. And then the other part that you can see with all the loose stone, that's going to be permeable, so the water just flows right through and infiltrates into the soil.
And is this like an electric heat or a run-off propane? What kind of heating system?
It's an electric heat system.
Okay.
Yeah. So at some point, you probably won't be here when they do it, but they're going to put little coils in the driveway, and then they're going to pour the permeable asphalt on top of it. So it should be a really interesting process. And along the edges of the driveway, we're going to line it with the Goshen stone, similar Goshen stone to what we're using for the paths and the steppers, but it's going to be a little bit thicker so that vehicles can drive over it. So I think it will really tie everything together and make the landscape really beautiful.
Awesome. That's very exciting. And then out front, they're doing a bunch of new things. There's walkways, patios. What's happened?
So last time we were here, I think there was a big pile of soil in our background. So we've moved that around a little bit, and we've put down base prep for the paths. So what we're doing is we're edging the decks with a little bit of stone to give you a bit of a step down, and so that you land on a firm surface, so you're not just landing necessarily on the grass. And the other thing that we're doing is making it so that you don't have to weed whack all the way up to the porch, so that your weed whack trimmer, your string trimmer, doesn't necessarily take the paint off of your deck. So you'll see that on the other side, and we're leaving joints in between the spaces, between the stones, so that we can put some thyme and some other plants in there to make it really smell nice and look nice in the summertime.
And you mentioned something about a shed.
Yes, we have moved the shed. So the shed was on the other side of the yard over that way, and we've moved it over and tucked it in a little bit more, and it's really opened up the area between the house and the bunkhouse. So you can, as you're rounding the corner, when we eventually finish putting all the steppers in, when you round the corner around the side, your view is, you have a little glimpse of the lake, and then you have a view of the bunkhouse, and at some point there'll be a garden in front of it with a little fence that we're doing. But that'll come after we're done all the major pavers and that sort of stuff.
And then you also were just showing me some tool that I have no idea what it is or why you have it. So please tell us more about that.
So at the beginning of the driveway, we're using one of the stones that we found on the site when we were digging, and we split it in half using a very ancient technique called using feather and wedges. And I have an example here, and it's really low tech. Like, we have all this fancy stuff that we can use, but at the end of the day, all we needed to do to get this stone to split in half was drill, 15, 18 holes about 2 inches in, jam this little thing inside of it, and then pound them in continuously all around it, and it splits right in half. It's a pretty amazing process to watch, just because it's this gigantic boulder, and you're like, no, that can't possibly split with these little, like, wedges. It's a small piece of metal that's, what, a half an inch? And if you put enough of them in there and you pound them in correctly, it forms a crack, and it just splits the whole thing right in half.
Perfectly even.
I wouldn't say
almost
perfectly even, but actually what we found, naturally is a better word. So we were following a seam around the rock, and it was, when it split apart, we could see that there were actually multiple different colors in the stone. So I think it was sort of a happy accident, but a really beautiful happy accident.
And so what are you going to do with those now that they're up at the top of the driveway? You're going to set them in?
Yep, we're going to set them up and put them as little frames on the beginning of the driveway. So it'll be I would say, a unique entrance to a unique property.
Very unique indeed. Now that you have the different patios, there's some bluestone walkways laid out, shed roof, you mentioned about the driveway, what's coming next in the next couple of weeks for you?
What's coming next? So we're hoping to get the driveway in before it freezes, but unfortunately sometimes asphalt plants close, and so we're moving a little bit faster in hopes of that happening. So the heated driveway's going in, we're going to finish putting in the pavers, we're going to edge the driveway with the Goshen stone, the pavers, what else? Oh, we're going to be doing fencing. That's what I forgot. So we designed some custom fences for the property with some insets, some cutouts in the gates, and some of the different for some of the different areas. We're using them both for 2 reasons. One, to screen, because there's a large transformer in our front yard. So we had to screen that off. So we're going to put a fence around that. And then we're also using it to delineate space and help people find the entrance to the house, so that we're putting a gate on one side so people don't go that way. And we're going to lead them around in a sequence of gardening events to the front door. And then the other fence that we're doing is going to be blocking off, enclosing a little English style garden over by the bunkhouse, which would be sort of like this riot of color in contrast to the naturalistic landscape around the rest of the property. So
I love how you're talking about it. It's more like a lifestyle piece to it. So as you're guiding people through and what they're going to see, it's a lifestyle piece. That's awesome.
It totally is, and your landscape should be as part of your home. Your home is your interior lifestyle, but then the exterior should reflect your values and what you believe in and how you want to live your life, because it's more than just the house. It's the house and the landscape, and it's your property, and you should love it and use it and enjoy it.
Absolutely, I agree. And we're better than on the lake.
Exactly. And if on the other side, you'll see if there's a beautiful view, especially the sunsets. So if you ever come back at night, it's really fantastic sunsets.
I'm sure we'll be back for the twilight shots at some
There you
point.
go. We'll get lighting in here eventually. Planting and lighting aren't going to lighting might happen this year. Planting is not going to happen until the spring, because at this point we've gotten a little bit too far along in our season, and we're concerned if we put the plants in that they might not overwinter well. So we'd rather hold off and wait until we can be better sure that everything will survive.
Safe than sorry.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, super exciting. Lots happened in a short period of time. Excited to see the progress with Paul at Stevens Landscaping. Thank you for the update.
Thanks, Brie.